Hello everyone, and welcome to WWWhatwas Battleground 2016. The battle lines have been drawn, and we'll take a look at which side came out on top. We start with the pre-show tag match between Breezango and the Usos, and it was a pre-show match. Right guys won, Breezango going over on the Usos. It was really nice to see that the crowd is getting behind Breezango, because they have two guys, Fandango, which they got behind for a kind of weird reason, and Tyler Breeze, who's was got over because of what he did in NXT. It's nice to see that people are going to get behind this tag team for the actual match. It was fun. It was fine. It was really short. It was only a 5-minute match. Interested to see if this continues on SmackDown or if this was just a one-off, but to get the crowd hyped for the main card, it did its job. Now we move on to the main card, and the opening match was the women's tag match. And we got to the reveal of Sasha's mystery tag partner, and I can't do this justice. Just give it a listen. That's right, it was Bayley, and just the ovation from the crowd and how pumped people were to see Bayley and Sasha in this. I had this smile on my face through the entirety of this match. It was so good, and it really brings into what I brought up in my draft special. WW was, why didn't you delay your draft a week? You could have then had the draft this Monday, and then have them fight over who gets Bayley, who gets Sasha. It would have really helped, but this was good. Bayley did the job. Sasha did the job. Charlotte looked great. Dana, we know how I feel about Dana. It really goes to show what it's going to be like when we have all four of the horsewomen in the same ring. Liked it, and I think the crowd made it very clear, hey, we want some Bayley. Next up, we had the return match from the Swamp with the New Day taking on the Wyatts in a 6-man tag. And it was fun. It was a 6-man tag. I'm not a huge fan of 6-man tags. I think they're a lot of style over substance. And they can usually deteriorate into it broke down and then it's a spot fest. They actually did get some good storytelling in with the fact of Xavier being afraid of Bray. And that actually culminating in the finish of the match with Wyatt's going over and Bray and Rowan going off to SmackDown with Strowman staying on Raw. I don't know how strong Strowman's going to be on Raw. I don't know if they really have a plan other than they wanted him to be there so Vince could stare at his muscles. As for the New Day, loss doesn't hurt them at all. Big E looked great. He threw the Wyatts around. Please don't die doing that spear outside because I think it looks cool, but I don't want you to die. Overall, everyone looked good. It was a good example of how to use a 6-man tag. Then we had the U.S. title match with Rusev and Ryder. Now, I didn't know what to expect going into this match. I was pretty certain Rusev was going to go over like he did. I didn't think Ryder was the guy that would kind of help enhance Rusev. I didn't think Rusev would be the rub for Ryder. It just seemed kind of like thrown together because we needed something for the event. But yeah, it was kind of a nothing match. I do have to take a special aside to talk about what Lana was wearing, and I regret nothing for what I'm about to do, so I'm sorry, kinda Lana.
The snow glows white on the mountain tonight.
I'm a terrible, terrible person. But Rusev won, Ryder looked okay, and then we had the great unexpected debut of Mojo Rawley. I'll reiterate what I said in my draft special. Fuck Mojo Rawley. And next up we had the umpteenth installment in the rivalry of Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. Now, I don't want to sound too blasé about this match because this was a really good match, but that seems almost like the norm for Owens and Zayn match for them to have a really good match. It looked great. I'm convinced these guys' mission statement with these matches, see who can come to close to dying in the match. I don't know if that spot with Zayn going for the moonsault out of the ring was planned for him to botch it like he did. I don't know. They kind of worked it into the storytelling. But that brainbuster to the outside was savage. And then Zayn hitting the multiple haluva kicks to make sure Kevin Owens stayed down. It was really good. I agree with the fans. I think they should fight forever, but maybe not for a little bit. Maybe, pull them apart for a bit. I don't know. Maybe you could have drafted them to separate brands. Sorry, still a little sour about that. But it was a good match. Probably the match of the night. Then we come to one of the two unexpected surprises of the night, and I actually feel bad I didn't see this match being as good as it was. We have Becky and Natalya, and for the most part, from an in-ring standpoint, it was pretty good. It was a little slow, but I think that had more to do with just the burnout from Owens and Zayn. I do have to question the logic of Becky losing. She's sincerely been positioned as the weakest of the four horsewomen, and given that she's the only one on SmackDown and is likely going to be the only face woman on SmackDown, the having her tap like that is suspect. But I think Becky and Natalya might be the lead women's rivalry on SmackDown. They still haven't explained how they're going to handle the women on both brands. That's still in the air, but this was a good match, but it also wasn't worth missing a time to go to the bathroom. And the second of the two surprises was the IC title match. Now, this started out surprisingly well. It was a really kind of basic but good catch-style match with Miz and Darren Young trading back forth, grappling and holds and all that. And it was actually... that style of wrestling can be entertaining. However, the ending was pure WWE Pro Wrestling soap opera nonsense. That ending didn't make sense. First, we had Maurice come over and attack Backlund. Now, okay, that would have made sense. Okay, Darren Young gets distracted, gets hit with the Skull Crushing finale, gets rolled up, you're out of there. But then you had Maurice fall over and claim Bob hit her. That caused Bob to go insane and Miz to go out of the ring. Okay. Then Miz attacked Bob, which caused Darren to go insane and attack Miz, and then the ref called for the bell. You had about 3 screwy finishes lumped on top of each other and said, yeah, this is good. You basically had a screwy burger and made us all eat it. I didn't think Darren was going to beat Miz. I didn't think the title was changing hands. I think both the US and the IC title will be finding new challengers come this week. Yeah, that was it was a cluster of an ending. And we come to the second of the 2 six-man tag matches. This one exemplified everything I don't like about six-man tags. But first, a special note to Enzo Amore. That opening promo was killer. Good job, Enzo. But as for the match itself, this was too silly. There was too much goofiness with throwing Enzo around, and the club, Gallows and Anderson, looked silly like henchmen. And it was really just going to be a setup and send-off to have AJ and Cena feud for SummerSlam. And maybe we'll have the club and Enzo and Cass. I don't know. It was goofy. Didn't really move the needle for me either way. But I think maybe they could do something with Cena and AJ. But it's looking like it's probably going to lead to Cena winning at SummerSlam. All in all, this was silly. I didn't like it, and I found it disappointing. Then we had your co-main event of the evening, the highlight reel featuring Randy Orton to hype up his match with the Beast, Brock Lesnar, at SummerSlam. We still don't know if that match is actually going to happen. Brock apparently got popped for his second sample by USADA, and again, New York is a commission state. Wrestling is regulated by their athletic commission, so if the Vegas commission suspends Lesnar for 2 years, New York will uphold that suspension and he won't be allowed to compete. That being said, it was a great way to introduce Randy back. People were excited to see him. Jericho gave us the gift of Jericho. Drink it in, man. I did like the fact that they played up to him, hinting at the RKO. And all in all, Randy, I think, had the line of the night. Here, give it a listen.
Well, it only takes one RKO to get to Viperville. No enhancement needed.
They did, in fact, address the fact that Lesnar got popped. So they are aware of it. So it wasn't a total like, oh, we're just going to act like it's business as usual. But it really was a nothing segment. It could have been done on Raw. I think this was more, we need to fill 3 hours of a pay-per-view, as well as do some hype for this match. And to end our show, we end with the main event, the Shield Triple Threat. And this was good in some spots, but it was also, I don't know. Alright, the good stuff, was Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose. Full stop. This should have been a singles match between the two. When Roman got suspended, he should have been taken out of the match. The match just felt better. The storytelling made more sense when it was just those two. Roman felt like a third wheel. This didn't feel like a triple threat match where everything flowed into itself. It felt like a singles match that would be occasionally broken up by Roman interference. The spot where they did the powerbomb through Roman through the table, a la the Shield, was good. The reenactment of the night Seth stabbed him in the back was good. And the finish was good. Roman ate a pedigree, was about to win after he hit a spear, but then ate dirty deeds, and Dean pinned Roman. Why is this so important? Because Dean won the title initially off Seth, and he retained it off Roman. This establishes he was the best of the Shield. I like that the right guy won, but it should have been just Dean and Seth. I think the storytelling was more built of it, with them being 1 and 2, but yeah, I don't know what happens with Roman Reigns now. I think his stock with management has dropped severely, being he was the one who was pinned. I don't think the trust is there anymore. I don't think he's going to be built to be the next Cena. I actually think that's going to go to Rollins. And Ambrose is going to have a nice run on SmackDown. He's going to have a nice run with the title. And, yeah. All in all, the ending with the entire locker room coming out was silly. JBL bloody climaxing. Oh, sorry for that visual. That was disgusting. About SmackDown having the title was over the top. But it was a very okay event. Overall grade, I'd say maybe a C+. There wasn't a lot that really moved the needle other than, like, a lot of people were going to think Zayn and Owens, but any given night you put Zayn and Owens in the ring, it's going to be good. But for me, I'm wrapped up for this one, and that WWWhatwas Battleground.